Dear students, well, in the previous lecture, we were talking about the differences between the treaties which establish the international organizations and the treaties that do not lead to the existence of the international organizations phenomenon. And I told you that there are three main differences between them. The first difference is that the treaty which establishes the international organization is given the priority over the other treaties made by the member states, and this is one of the differences, sorry, between the treaties which connect with the international organization and the other treaties. And I told you also that the international organization treaty is a united one. Regarding this matter, I told you that the unification of the provisions of the international treaty, this one, means that the states or the member states cannot conclude reservations over the treaty. Means that the state must accept the provisions of the international treaty which establishes the organization as they are. I mean, the provisions wholly must be accepted by the state which wants to be part of this organization. However, what is the state, or what if the state wants to join a treaty of organization, but the same time it wants to make some objections or reservations on some, for example, provisions or text within the statute which establishes the international organizations. Like, I want to be as a state, member state and inside the United Nations Charter, but there are some rules within the charter that I do not like. So what can I do in this case? Well, we told you that it depends on the organization treaty or the establishing treaty position. So we have to look on the provisions within that treaty which establishes the organization. So it may we find that the treaty itself gives a provisions or provide a provision which says that states who wants to be part of the international organization can do reservations as they are or as they want, as they would like. So in this case, there is no problem with that. And sometimes we find that the establishing treaty, like I told you before about the ICC, if you look on Article 120, you will find it stipulating explicitly that no reservations can be made by the member states. And it's made that the treaty itself doesn't say anything, doesn't provide any provision regarding uh, the capability to make reservations. So the customary international law and the international law provisions in this matter is that it is allowed, according to Vienna Conventions for the Law of Treaties, it is allowed unless the reservation violate the aim, or even it violates the purpose of the existence of the treaty. Okay, so but that is connected with the general provisions regarding reservation, regarding the treaties in general, not the treaties which establishes the international organizations. So now here on this topic, we're talking about treaties, but not general treaties. I mean, this verdict, which is shown here, it talks about treaties in general. However, I'm talking about treaties which establishes the international organizations. So it's important for me here to highlight the treaties which establishes the organizations and the reservations, how can the state make reservations on them. So we have to revise the provisions uh, that are like put within the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaty, the VCLT 1969, to find out what is the provision And what is the legal rule regarding the reservations of the member states on the establishing treaties of the international organization? There is Article 23 and Article 20.4, I mean paragraph 4, about this thing, but the first one is insufficient one, and the second one is all illogical one. And we will tell you how they are illogical and how they are insufficient. Well, actually, this is Article 20, Paragraph 3 of the VSLT. It says when a treaty is a constituent instrument of an international organization. So, look here, the provision, it relates one kind of treaties, which is an instrument of international organization. So we're not talking here about treaties in general. We are talking about one kind of international treaties. It is treaties which is a constituent and instrument of international organization. And unless it is otherwise provided, a reservation requires acceptance of the competent organ of the organization. It says that if the treaty which establishes the organization accepts the idea of the reservation cannot be made unless the competent organ within the international organization accepts that reservation. But the question here, what is the competent organ in this case? What do we mean by the competent organ? So this is one of the difficulties that we have here. Okay. Number 2 is that Article 20, Paragraph 4 says in cases not falling under the preceding paragraphs, and unless the treaty otherwise provides, it says, acceptance by another contracting state of a reservation constitutes the reserving state a party to the treaty in relation to that other state if or when the treaty is in force for those states. An objection by another contracting state to reservation does not preclude the entry into force of the treaty as between the objecting and the reserving states unless a contrary intention is definitely expressing or expressed by the objecting state. Look, in Arabic بقول لي انه اذا الدوله دي تعمل تحفظ على نص معين في بنود المعاهده او بند من بنود المعاهده المنشئه لمنظمه دوليه، فعندئذ الدول اللي وافقت على التحفظات اللي انا ابديتها بصير انا داخل المنظمه، المعاهده هاي تبعت المنظمه ملزمه في مواجهتي انا بمقابل هذه الدول. في حين أي دولة رفضت هذا التحفظ فإن ذلك سيؤدي إلى جعل المعاهدة تبعت المنظمة ليست سارية في مواجهتي مع هذه الدول اللي رفضت التحفظ. يعني كانوا بيقول لي إنه إذا أنا عملت التحفظات على معاهدة معينة وانضميت للمعاهدة وصرت طرف في المنظمة، فإن علاقتي في بعض الدول حتكون إنه أنا دولة معترف فيها من هذه الدول، في حين في مواجهتي للدول الثانية اللي عرضت التحفظات مش حيكون كأن المعاهدة كأنها موجودة. يعني كأنه حيخلي الدول داخل المنظمة متفرقة، في بعض الدول بتعترف في الأخرى ودول لا تعترف في الأخرى. And this is illogical actually. هذا الأمر مش منطقي. إحنا وجدنا في المنظمة عشان يكون في النهاية معترفين ببعضنا البعض وإن المعاهدة سارية في مواجهتنا مع بعضنا البعض. أما تيجي تقول إنه بعض الدول حتكون معترفة فيا لمجرد إنه اعترفت بالتحفظ ودول أخرى it doesn't accept me simply because they do not accept the reservation that I made, then actually it is illogical matter. That's why it is preferable that the rule must say or provide regarding treaties establishing the international organization that no reservations are allowed unless under certain and narrow circumstances. عشان هيك بعض المنظمات المفترض انه يكون نظامها بيقول انه التحفظات غير مسموح بها الا في اضيق النطاقات، خصوصا اذا كنا بنتكلم عن مين؟ عن المعاهده اللي بتنشئ منظمه دوليه. Okay guys, so this is regarding the international treaty which establishes the international organization. Let's now move to a new topic. It is actually about the membership within the international organization. So let's start it. Well, sure. This is the, and this is actually the slides. It is the slide number 3. Okay. Membership within the organizations. Look, usually, I mean, generally, states among the actors of the international law are allowed to be members in the international organizations. So when you look on any kind of international organizations, you will find that the dominant actors within that organization are the states. So the states are usually the only actors are allowed to be members in the international organizations. But it doesn't necessarily mean that every state has a right to be a member unless the conditions of such membership are met. And this is what we mentioned in the point number 1 in differentiation between the international treaty, which establishes the international organizations, and the other treaties, is that the style of the admission, it replaces the style of the accession, which means that the state which wants to be part of the organization must apply for the membership of that organization. But the organization will accept that state if the membership conditions are met. Okay? And these conditions actually, they differ from organization to another organization. We may find the conditions very wide, very or we can find more than 3 conditions if we are talking about the regional organizations. However, if the organization is a universal one, you will find the conditions less than 3 conditions. For example, I mean, the number of the conditions will be more than 3 or less than 3 according to the nature of the organization, whether it is a wide jurisdiction or narrow jurisdiction one, whether it is universal or regional one. So this actually affects on the conditions of the membership inside that treaty. In a way, the relation to the international organizations, it may be a normal organization or a membership by association. So we have 2 types. Let me use the pen here. We have 2 types of the membership. We have normal membership. We have membership by association. So we have member states and we have associates. So الدول اللي عندها normal membership بنسميهم member states. الدول اللي بتكون عضويتهم بالassociation بنسميها associates or states who are associates anyway. And we have 2 kinds actually of memberships also. We have original membership and we have non-original membership. في عضوية أصلية وفي عضوية غير أصلية. الأصلية يعني اللي بتكون الدول اكتسبتها منذ بداية نشأة المنظمة. يعني على سبيل المثال الأمم المتحدة أول ما بدأت بالدول اللي وقعت على اتفاقية الأمم المتحدة اللي هم 50 دولة تقريبا كانوا. هدول الدول اللي موجودين من أول ما تأسست المنظمة بنسميهم original states. However, the non-original states are those states who acceded the international organization after it existed. بعد ما ظهرت, after it was established. So Palestine is considered a non-original a non-member state. Okay. France is considered an original state. However, other states are considered non-original ones. Like for example, any state which acceded after the establishing of the United Nations. And actually we have two other types, the normal membership and the association. We will talk about these four types, normal, association, original and non-original, in the coming slides. What you have to do to know is we have two kinds of the memberships. The first one is the normal one, the second one is the association. What is the difference between them? Well, actually the normal membership is the membership where the member state, it enjoys all the rights and bears all duties and obligations of the organization. So when the state enjoys all rights and duties within the international organizations, we can say that it has a normal membership. However, if the state, it just enjoys certain rights and it bears certain duties, then this is the association membership. This normal membership applies only to states, applies only to states. This is the general rule. However, the association may be applied to other entities rather than states. And this is what we will show later. Well, it is taken for granted, as shown here, that normal membership includes states. Okay, so this is the normal membership. It applies to states. However, is it a must that associate shall be a state? I mean, the other type, I mean, the association. Is it applicable only to states? This is the question. Well, actually, the association can be made by states. Also, it can be made by entities that lack the statehood character. I mean, for example, entities like international organizations, entities which doesn't have the right to self-determination or doesn't enjoy the right to self-determination. It doesn't have self-rule style. ما عندهاش أسلوب الحكم الذاتي. الأقاليم غير المتمتعة بالحكم الذاتي زي إقليم السودات زمان. These entities can be a non-state associates. So associates can be states or can be non-states. Let's give you examples. Some agencies and organs affiliated to the United Nations itself allow non-state entities to associate to them. يعني بقول لبعض الوكالات التابعة للأمم المتحدة سمحت لأنه يكون في عندنا أعضاء بشكل اللي هو associate وليس member state إنه يكونوا موجودين داخلهم زي مثلا Food and Agriculture Organization, UNESCO, WHO, the International Union for Transportation. All of these agencies, they accept the associates to be non-states. Also, regions that doesn't, or a region which doesn't enjoy the self-rule, or regions that are put under the trusteeship regime are permitted to associate. الدول اللي مش متمتعة بالحكم الذاتي، الدول اللي موضوعة تحت نظام الوصاية الدولية، مسموح إنه برضو يكونوا associates within the some of the agencies of the international organizations. Okay, so these are the association membership. So we have normal membership, association membership. Regarding association, it applies not only to states, but also it applies to entities which doesn't have the character of the statehood, like regions that doesn't enjoy or don't enjoy, sorry, the self-rule, or regions under the trusteeship regime. And we have actually types of the association memberships. We have two types. عندنا نوعين من الأنواع الممبرشيب اللي اسمها الاسوسيشن. على فكرة الاسوسيشن عشان الواحد يكون عارف اللي بقصده فيها هي العضوية بالانتساب. يعني العضوية نوعين، العضوية العادية النورمال ممبرشيب، أما الاسوسيشن لو بدكم تدوروا عليها بالعربي فهي اسمها العضوية بالانتساب أو بيسموها عضوية المنتسبة أو المنتسبة. أوكي؟ ففي عندنا نوعين من عضوية الانتساب. We have the internal association and we have the external association. في عضوية الانتساب العادية وعضوية الانتساب عضوية الانتساب الانترنال داخلي وانتساب خارجي. والانتساب الخارجي بحد ذاته له نوعين، في انتساب خارجي بنسميه عادي وفي انتساب خارجي تنظيمي. إذا الأنواع المتعلقة بعضوية الانتساب أنا مش مطلوبة منكم طبعا، بس من باب العلم بالشيء هذه تحديدا الأنواع. في حاجة بنسميها internal association وفي حاجة اسمها external association membership. The external one is divided or classified into two classes: the ordinary external association and the institutional external association. So what do we mean by them? Okay, the internal association, I mean the first one here. The internal organization means that the associate member enjoys rights and duties inside the organization. Inside it means that the state represents within the organization. The member also represents in a few number of the organization organs. For example, the territory of the SAR, إقليم السار, as an associate in the Council of Europe, represented in the consultative assembly but not in the committee of ministers. في مثال نعطيني اياه على عضوية دول كان عندهم انتساب، عضوية انتساب، ونوعها من بين الانواع انتساب داخلي اللي هو المذكور هنا. قال الانتساب الداخلي هو الدولة فيه بتكون تتمتع ببعض الحقوق وبعض الامتيازات وعليها بعض الواجبات داخل المنظمة، وبتمثل داخل المنظمة بس بتمثلش في كل الأجهزة، بتمثل في بعض الأجهزة فقط. على سبيل المثال إقليم السار كان بيمثل في منظمة اسمها منظمة مجلس أوروبا، منظمة اسمها مجلس أوروبا Council of Europe. الآن منظمة مجلس أوروبا هتلاقي إنه هذه المنظمة لما اجت يمثل فيها إقليم السار اللي مش متمتع أصلا بالحكم الذاتي في وقته، اعطوه تمثيل فقط في جهاز واحد من الأجهزة دون الأخرى. في عندهم جهازين كان في Council of Europe، جهاز اسمه مجلس الوزراء أو لجنة الوزراء يعني، وفي جهاز اسمه جهاز الجمعية الاستشارية. الجمعية الاستشارية عاملة زي الجمعية العمومية، ومجلس الوزراء عامل زي مجلس الأمن. فهم قالوا له مثل في الجمعية العمومية اللي هي اسمها Consultative Assembly, but you do not have the right to represent within the committee of the ministers. That's why we consider it internal association, because you are allowed to represent in one of the organs. Okay, so this is the first one. The second one is the external association. The external association means that the associate member enjoys the rights, but the problem is that he doesn't enjoy the representation within the international organs. He doesn't represent. This kind of association may be ordinary and institutional, like what we mentioned here. We told you that the internal association has two types, ordinary and institutionals. Now focus here. The internal, you represent in some organs. External, you do not represent. This is the difference between them. Now, what is the ordinary and the institutional? الآن الordinary means that على سبيل المثال لو عندي European Group، مجموعة دول أوروبية أنشأت فيما بينها منظمة أوروبية. الآن الدول هاي نظرا لأنه كلها أوروبية، وإجت دولة ثانية اسمها Europe State, for example, State X, which is our Europe State. Europe State wants to connect with the European Group، بده يرتبط بالمجموعة الأوروبية اللي ناشئة، but he doesn't want to represent inside that group. يعني inside that group I don't want to be a member, but I would like to use the privileges of that organization externally. يعني أنا اليوم عندي اتحاد أوروبي وأنا دولة أوروبية، باجي بقول لهم إنه أنا بدي أنتسب إلى الاتحاد الأوروبي بدون ما أمثل جوا، بديش يكون لي ممثلين داخل المنظمة، لكن بدي أستفيد من المزايا اللي بتوفروها خارجيا للدول تبعتكم كدول الاتحاد الأوروبي. هذا بنسميه انتساب خارجي. سمي خارجي لأنه أنا I don't want to be represented inside the international organization, but I would like to use the privileges that are granted according to your statute to these member states in the external level. So since the group is European and I am European state, then it is called ordinary because we are of the same kind, European with the European. However, the institutional one, it is not ordinary one, because when there is a European group, but there is a non-Europe country which wants to connect with them or with this group or organization, it is allowed. مثلا كينيا تيجي تقول للاتحاد الاوروبي انا بدي استفيد من المزايا اللي بتوفروها لدول الاتحاد الاوروبي خارجيا، واللي احنا سميناها فيما بعد او سموها في ذلك الوقت، مش احنا طبعا، انا مش علاقه، سموها ياوندي فورموليت، صيغه ياوندي. So this is the difference now between the organization or the association, sorry, membership. So the association is maybe internal or maybe external. The external one is maybe an ordinary or even an institutional external association. If you have any kind of questions, please leave them in a comment so that I can reply to your questions immediately without reaching the Moodle and looking for your messages. You can leave them immediately here, okay? So this is regarding the types of the membership. We have normal membership, we have the association membership. The other types of the membership. I told you that we have more than two types, not only normal and the association. We have original organization membership and we have non-original membership, right? Now, the original membership is accepted or acquired since the establishment of the organization, right? However, the non-original organization membership is the one which is acquired or accepted after the establishment and provided that the group of conditions are fulfilled. So this is the difference between the original and the non-original. And I think I illustrated this before. The original one, it is acquired since the establishment of the organization. The non-original one, it is accepted and acquired after the entry into force of the treaty which establishes the international organization. I mean, after the international organization was existed and established. It is rare to have problems regarding the states who have the original organization membership. The original membership, it doesn't create problems in the international level. The kind which makes problems is the non-original membership, simply because there are conditions. And if the conditions are met, the state is accepted. If the conditions aren't met, then the state is not accepted in the international organization. That's why verifying these conditions may create problems in the international level. That's why the non-original membership creates problems. It results in troubles in the international level. However, the original membership, it doesn't lead to problems in the international level, okay? So this is the difference between the original and the non-original one. So we have two differences. The original accepted sometimes, however, the other type is accepted another time. The original organization membership, it doesn't create problems. However, the other type, it creates problems in the international level. The question here is, does the nature of the membership's conditions vary from organization to another organization? I think I replied to this question. I answered it before. I told you that substantial procedure conditions vary according to the type of the organization. For example, if the organization is a regional one, then the conditions will be so hard and their number will be larger than, or it will be bigger than the number in the universal organizations. However, if it is a universal organization, then the conditions are easy compared by the regional organizations. And here, I left you some examples for organizations which are regional and organizations which are universal one, and you will find the differences between them. Okay, let's read the first example and the second example, and to illustrate Where do they differ? Okay, the examples are mentioned here. Number one, it is the Rome Treaty, which establishes the European Community States. في اللي هو مجتمع الدول الأوروبية أو منظمة الدول الأوروبية أو منظمة المجتمع الأوروبي. المادة 237 من الاتفاقية المنشئة لها اللي اسمها اتفاقية روما بتقول any European state may apply to become a member of the community. أي دولة بدها تنضم يعني تنضم إذا كانت أوروبية تنضم للمجتمع الأوروبي. It shall address its application to the council. بتقدم طلبها للمجلس. Which after obtaining the opinion of the commission وبعد ما تاخذ رأي اللجنة shall act by means of an unanimous vote. عشان تنقبل الدولة عضويتها داخل المنظمة هاي اللي هي تعتبر regional organization لازم التصويت يكون بقبول عضويتها unanimous اللي هو يعني بالإجماع. unanimous معناتها بالإجماع وهذا معناته إنه لو في رفض من دولة واحدة the membership will not be granted to that state. I mean the state which addressed the application for a membership to the council. شايفين كيف؟ إذا هي regional organization ومن شروط قبولها إنه يكون التصويت عبارة عن unanimous vote. However, the example regarding the United Nations Charter and the United Nations Organization, Article 4 says the admission of any such state اللي هي تنضم يعني فيما بعد لأنه هو كان في الفقرة الأولى بيتكلم عن الدولة اللي بتنضم لازم تكون peace loving state دولة محبة للسلام راغبة وقادرة على تحقيق التزاماتها. ثاني شيء قال لي إنه قبولها لازم يكون عن طريق decision قرار of the General Assembly قرار مأخوذ من الجمعية العامة وبناء على توصية مجلس الأمن. لو احنا رحنا نشوف القرار تبع الجمعية العامة حنلاقي إنه النصوص كانت تتحدث عن 2/3 majority بينما هنا لازم يكون unanimous 100%. Here we have 2/3 majority. Number two, the votes of the United Nations Security Council is not by majority. It is 9 votes of 15 votes. لازم يكونوا 9 أصوات من أصل 15 صوت وافقوا على الموضوع طبعا without using the veto if the matter is a procedural one or a subjective one. However, it is a procedural one. We don't care about the veto. Well, I will tell you later whether the accepting of the new member state is a procedural matter or a subjective matter, and accordingly we will have idea whether the votes shall be with or without veto. And we will discuss later this later, inshallah. In the coming lecture, we will be talking about the withdrawal from the international organization. To this end, I end my lecture, and I will see you, inshallah, in the coming lecture. Thank you very much, and goodbye.